Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. I am so excited. We have a beautiful guest with us today, the amazing Miriam Smout. She is known as the Redemption Mumma, and we're going to be talking today about how to conquer overwhelm and step into your power. Welcome, Miriam.
Thanks, Aldwyn. It's a real pleasure to be here sharing with you. Always fun, and I love what you do. Thank you. You've helped me so much. You've reduced my overwhelm massively.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much, Miriam. Well, I love working with you too. And Miriam, for those who don't know, she is one of our amazing Mass Media Mastery members and extraordinary lady all the way from Perth. And I'm coming to you from the Gold Coast now. And, this topic of overwhelm, it is a hot topic. And just to explain to people, I guess, there's so much going on in the world over the last few months, obviously with COVID, with all the dramas happening in the world. There's certain things you can't control, right? And in the world of overwhelm, sometimes with overwhelm, you feel like the world is crashing in on you, right? Or that you're not able to handle your own world. So Miriam, I'm really curious to know a little bit more about your story. We can share with our viewers today a little bit about your story and how you came into actually talking about this topic and being an expert in this field.
Well, thanks, Aldwyn. Probably I became an expert because I allowed myself to get overwhelmed a few too many times. And I learned very quickly that it's hard to hear sometimes, but it is actually a choice. And the way we live our lives, the things that we allow to impact and fill our calendars, and the busyness that can easily creep in, is actually something that we chose to embrace, chose to do, or chose to say yes to, even if it's being a boss put it on us, or family expectation. We said yes to it. For me, I was a yes person, and I had to learn not just to say no, but how to manage that space and how to be able to manage my responses. Often people will be putting you on the spot and it's like they want an answer straight away. I learned that I don't actually have to give an answer straight away. I can create some space. So through my journey, I'm a mother of 5 children. I've been a teacher. I love educating. I love teaching people. I love getting them, helping them to understand maybe where they are and how they got there. And so that's what I do as a redemption mama. I'm always getting opportunities to support people on their journey to redeem things that they've lost. Maybe time, maybe a bit of sanity with getting into that overwhelm space. So as a redemption mama, that's what I love to do. It's my heart and my passion to help people get back things that they've lost. It's what I love to do.
Fantastic. And you have given a lot, haven't you? You've helped so many different types of people who've been through abuse and things like that too, haven't you?
Yes, that was where things sort of started for me, like in a pretty organic way. People were attracted to me from areas of addiction, of sexual abuse, of domestic violence, and just in doing a journey with them and living life with them. We've had them live in our homes. We've supported people in many ways through those kind of journeys, and seen that life can be transformed even when you get into such a difficult and broken space. I love working with people in those spaces because I know how possible it is to break down that space, that brokenness, to actually get back from being broken. I say from being broken to breaking through. And that's what I love to help women do, and that's what I love to do for myself as well.
Fantastic. And what are some signs that people are in overwhelm? How does it show up?
Well, what's interesting is that overwhelm tends to hit you quite suddenly. You realise that you're just not coping. You realise that things are getting a bit out of control, that you are maybe not sleeping too well. You're in this space of you're overthinking all the time. You can't relax. You can't rest. You're just on this treadmill that you think you've got to go. And once you get into that space, it's actually hard sometimes to recognize that you're there. And what I see is that it's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yes.
And you tend to know that you're in overwhelm when you're almost at that point of either being broken or falling apart, or just feeling life is so chaotic that you don't know what to do and you can't think straight. You can't really put yourself into a headspace that maybe is going to help you take action and change some things. So there are some simple steps that we can action to make sure that we stay out of that space. And that's, of course, being aware, self-aware, managing our time, not saying yes to everything. And for me, when I am in that situation where I feel the pressure that I have to give an answer, I always say, look, I'll get back to you. And I found that a really powerful line. I'll get back to you. I don't actually have to say yes straight away, even though I might feel that pressure. I might feel that demand that's coming through, but I'll say, I'll get back to you. What that does is create space. So they don't know whether I'm working out my no answer or they don't know if I'm consulting my diary. But it gives me that space to really then make a judgment or make a call on whether that is something I should do or whether it's something I shouldn't do. Because there's so many good things in the world, right?
Yes.
They're good.
Yes.
We think they're good, and they are good, but they might not be right for you to do.
Absolutely. And when you're a yes person or a people pleaser, and I know I've certainly been like this myself, and I have certainly felt a lot of overwhelm over the years. And, you know, being a journalist and working in the media for 36 years, you know, it's amazing, you know, constant deadlines. You kind of have this adrenaline lifestyle. It's go, 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 go. And, you know, and I know one thing that's really helped me when I've been in overwhelm is actually just to brain dump everything down on, you know, in a book or on a bit of paper. Just brain dump everything that comes to your mind, get it out of your head onto paper, and then from there prioritize. You can actually highlight the main priorities. Say 3 main priorities for the day is one great way to help overcome overwhelm. Or for me, that's something that's really been great for me, to actually just chunk down, get everything out of your head onto paper and break it down to prioritize. And the clearer you are on your goals and your vision and your mission, the easier it is to say no to, right?
Absolutely. Being clear on your purpose and being clear on how things do fit or don't fit into that's really critical and very, very supports that space of staying out of overwhelm, staying away from getting overwhelmed. But it's interesting what you're saying before, you know, that go, go, go. Cortisol is that thing that is meant to support us when we need that hormone to be able to make judgments, to decide, do we run, do we fight? But when we're in overwhelm, we've got so much cortisol in our body that it ends up taking us into, well, we can be in adrenal fatigue, we can be in chronic fatigue. There's a lot of things that can happen when we've allowed cortisol to just stay at that high level in our body. And as we allow it to stay in that high level and we don't take action on our circumstances, like simple as what you're saying is just making a list and finding out, well, what am I? What are the demands? What is calling for my attention and my time? And prioritizing that, then we will end up burning out. It's not sustainable.
Yes.
And that's happened for me, you know, a number of times in my life. I have come to that point of burning out. And then it takes a lot longer to recover, because not only do you need to let that cortisol level drop and find that balance again, but you've completely burnt yourself out. You're completely spent. And in that space, it takes a whole lot more time and effort to restore and to refresh and to get going again in life, only sometimes to then repeat the cycle. Which is very common.
Yes.
what I suggest and recommend in my little course that I have, my course on conquering overwhelm, one of the things that I recommend is for people to create a space. Creating a space for me in my home, I have a winter space and a summer space. So when it's a nice sunny day, I've got my space outside where I go. I don't take my phone, because as soon as I pick up my phone, I'll be down the rabbit hole of social media, and it might be half an hour or even longer before you realize how much time you've wasted. And I've got my winter space where I can sit in the sunshine inside and be nice and warm. But in that space, I've tried to create an environment where I can allow myself time to rest and refresh, to stop the clutter in my mind. The conscious mind is always trying to be very bossy and make you keep processing and make you keep overthinking and try and find another way. But I've been fascinated by doing some study on Edison's life and Einstein's life. And they did things like Einstein would go and play the violin for an hour when he got stuck. Edison would go take a rest when he got stuck. And then those downloads would come, those things that they needed to, the answers they needed for whatever they were trying to solve. And I find that for me as well. I find the shower is a really remarkable place to just totally allow my conscious mind to get out of the way. And then you can connect with that deeper part of you, that non-conscious mind, that part where we actually get the downloads, we get the insight, we get the intuition, we get the revelation. It doesn't come through just processing it, thinking it through. It's one of those things that comes just in a random moment. So we need to create space to allow ourselves to really figure out what's going on in our life. And if you do that when you're feeling overwhelmed and you detach and you find a space that's going to allow your mind just to rest, you'll be amazed at how you'll get some creative ways, some creative ideas to push back on maybe some of the overwhelm that's pushing into you.
I love that, creating space away from your mobile phone, away from social media. I know some people actually schedule in just 10 minutes a day where they will go to their social media, which, if you can be that disciplined with your time and just say, right, no more than 10 minutes, then that's fantastic every day. Or, of course, get yourself a VA or an assistant who can do social media for you. But there definitely is a big rabbit hole you can go down. And, it's something definitely to be aware of. And if you're watching this right now, I'd love to hear from you. And hello, Brad. Good to see you there. It'd be great to hear from you. What are some of your tips and what do you do to overcome overwhelm or to conquer overwhelm? What are some of your tips? Something that's been great for me too, Miriam, is I love yoga. And with yoga comes deep breathing. And I'd imagine in these spaces that you're creating that you're doing some deep breathing, right? I would imagine. How does your space time work for you?
Well, there's a few things that I do in my space time. I have a gratitude journal, and I make sure that on a really regular basis, I use my gratitude journal. I commit to writing down 10 things every day that I can be thankful for. For me, it was funny because when I started, it was really hard to find 3, and I had to go back to basics like, well, I'm alive, so I'm breathing, those sort of things. But now, 10 wouldn't be enough. But I also date it, because what I find is if I haven't put the date there and I've let it go for a week, then I can feel myself falling or spiraling into some of those not so positive places. And I'll go back to my book, and it was a week ago, So that's something I do in my space. I have my journal. So if I need to download if I need to clear some things out of my head, I can put them into my journal. I have some music. I know that for me, music is a really tremendous therapy. I have my guitar, because often these little songs will come to me and I'll just be able to fiddle away. And these are the things that often don't happen when you're just in the busyness of life and you're processing. You might be, what am I going to write? What am I going to sing? What's this thing that I want to do? But when you're pushing your mind to try and create it, it often doesn't come. It comes in those spaces where you just let your conscious mind have a rest, and then those beautiful thoughts that just override the conscious mind and drop in there like a song. So I'll have my guitar so I can have a little play. I have a notebook where those thoughts will come to me. I have one by my bed as well, because I find that when I wake up in the morning, when I go to sleep at night, and sometimes in the night, I'll have the most brilliant ideas. And then when I wake up, I, for the life of me, can't remember what they were. So I have my little notebook there as well. So when those ideas come, I can jot them down. I have my cup of water or my cup of coffee. I try to just create that space so that it's almost it is a sacred space for me. And I'm able to just rest, chill, disconnect, detach from all the demands and all the busyness. And as my children were growing up, they knew when I was in that space. And it was great because I taught them to respect that and just give it to me, give me 20 minutes or half an hour. So I had to teach my children when they were younger that it was my time and it was really important and I valued it, and that they needed to respect it as well. Now, of course, I don't have young children at home, so I just have to discipline myself to make sure that I take that time on a daily basis. If I don't, I very quickly get into feeling like I'm overwhelmed. Things are getting too much.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And meditation's another great thing that I've used as well. Meditation is wonderful, and just to get out of the busyness. And it's funny how the word business has busyness in it. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Meditation.
Well, it is busy, isn't it? There's always more demands on our time than we have time for, and yet we all have the same amount of time in a day. So it's how I choose to use it, how you choose to use it, and some of the things that are really pressing and pushing us into that mindset that if we don't do them today or yesterday, they won't get done. For instance, something powerful happened for me today. So you and I connected.
Yes.
And I've been stewing over some of the thoughts and some of the concepts that we shared about today for a few months now. And about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, I wasn't so well, and then my husband got sick. And so we had a whole lot more space, which was just created. But I kept getting this strong sense, stay and rest, stay and rest. And then today, I remember I said to you the word cohesive. I've got these, I could see it like jigsaw pieces floating around the air, and I needed something to bring it together to make it cohesive. And in such a short time, that was accomplished.
Yes.
How powerful is that? So we can invest ourselves in worry and anxiety and pressing and pushing, where sometimes we just have to go to rest and give it some time. It's not quite as demanding as we think it might be. When I was, some family members can be demands on our lives, business things can be demands in our lives, bosses, all the things we want to fit in a day can be demands on our lives. But it's like you say, just get that list and start to prioritize and find what are the important things that you need to do, and then let go of the things that are not.
Yes, absolutely. And I think also reaching out and being able to ask others for help at times, I think that's a really great thing, having mentors and coaches that can guide you. And, I have several mentors in my life. I have, coaches, mentors. I have an amazing group of people around me. I have some phenomenal clients. I'm surrounded by amazing people. And often we're too close to what we're doing to realize how amazing we are or the things we're up to, or, it can become a bit of a jumble in the mind if you don't brain dump and if you don't even workshop, which is kind of what we did today. We workshopped through some ideas and what you were doing, and we brought some clarity to it, and it was really wonderful. So being okay with actually asking for help or reaching out when you are stuck. I think that's really important, rather than trying to work it all out yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my role in the lives of women that I support too, that I mentor women, and I love to see how often you don't have to have the answers for another person. They will process it themselves, but in the process of seeing them, just get it out and lay it down, it's wonderful to see how those beautiful, intuitive and downloads just land and allow that person that freedom to be able to try some new things and to try some new strategies. I know with a lot of women that come to me, they'll say, I know something's wrong, but I don't know what to do about it and I don't know how. And so as a mentor, talking and processing why things are wrong, and then helping people to understand a process that they could take to go through it. They might not follow your process to the end because something else comes along that actually is going to help them get there faster or more quickly, which is just fantastic because they've processed it for themselves. But when you're in overwhelm, you don't process, you don't have a rational thinking processes that help you really to evaluate, is this a good thing to do? Is this not a good thing to do? But if we can break it down and simplify things, get the list, simplify things, create the space to find the rest and really start to connect with the truth and connect with who we are, then we're going to find that overwhelm will be something that we can overcome. We can conquer it. We don't have to have it conquering us all the time and knocking at our door all the time to be pulling us back and pulling us down.
Absolutely. And, stress is a big buzzword too at the moment. I put a few stress hashtags in LinkedIn when we were sharing this post. It's amazing how many stress and overwhelm hashtags there are out there, and how stressed and overwhelmed people can be, particularly at this time, I think, when a lot of people feel out of control. They feel like the world's going crazy. Some people have never experienced the kind of pandemic that we've been going through since March, really 5 months we've had this chaos out there in the world that is affecting so many people. The lockdowns, the economic crashes, etc. It can definitely, just with what's happening in the world, can be very overwhelming. And, as I say, you can't control that stuff. You can control how you're going to respond to it. You can control whether you're going to whinge about it or you're going to be in gratitude. You mentioned gratitude. I started the Global Good News Challenge in June, and it's amazing how powerful it is also. Writing down your gratitude is awesome, and sharing it live, sharing it with the public, sharing it with people around you, sharing what you're grateful for, sharing over dinner, sharing, being thankful. Grace, being thankful for your life, for your food, there's so much we can be grateful for. And, I often say things can always be worse too. So that's important to get. Things can always be worse.
Yeah. We have so many blessings here in Australia that we now have the expectation that should be part of our life, and it should be how we get to live because that's all we've known. And I think being adaptable, being flexible, being willing to change some of those expectations, and that's been quite hard for a lot of people. We just gravitate to comfort, don't we? And our comfort spot is the spot we want to stay. And yet I feel like life right now is just crying out and saying we all have to make some adjustments, that probably the way we were living, the expectations we were holding on to aren't really sustainable in the long term. And life has just been getting better and better and better for us in Australia for a long time now. It's like there's a good correction that's coming. And when a correction comes, the great thing about it is that it always brings something better. So what we know is good, but what if there's something better? What if there's something even more sustainable, even better than the way we've been living in the past? And quite frankly, I just think we've all probably fallen into the selfish pattern. How many families would have a meal around the table these days and sit and talk to each other? And we found that over that period, that here we were with my son and a girl from Botswana that's boarding with us at the moment. And we were sitting down eating together. We were talking. We had no one else to talk to. And when it kind of, we're out of lockdown in Perth now, but when that changed, I felt a little bit sad because it's easy just to drift back into all of the other demands. But we have made a commitment to try and once a week my husband and I have made that commitment with each other to embrace them once a week at least, to stay connected, because it was a really beautiful opportunity. So there was a correction even in our own household that we benefited from during that time.
Wonderful. And
yeah, looking for those things that you can say thank you for rather than things that we allow to become overwhelming for us. Find the good in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think now too, there's been over 60% increase in content consumption since COVID. And I think people are looking to find that connection with others, to connect online and to connect in our family groups. I think it's really important that we do get off our devices and that we actually connect with each other, because we're tribal human beings. We need our community groups. We weren't designed to be doing life in isolation. And that's where people get depressed, right? I've had depression over the years. I've had 4 friends take their own lives. And one thing I'm really passionate about is helping to lift people's spirits through the news, through the media, so that we can have more empowered lives and be more loving and grateful. I say that right now I've got my little love heart here. Love, kindness, compassion. These things are so powerful. Gratitude, all these things, such simple things in life are often the best. Simple things that can help shift the way that you live your life, day by day, moment by moment. These are very powerful things. Gratitude, connecting with the family, being grateful for your food. When you're grateful, the more great opportunities will come your way. I think that's an excellent tip.
Absolutely.
What other tips have we got today, Miriam? Yes.
Well, I was thinking, when we talk about stepping into our power, what does that mean? And I feel that it's important to clarify that, because a lot of us can feel disempowered. My belief is that we give that away, that we all have the responsibility for the choices, the decisions that we make. And if we're in a spot where we're blaming others, like I'm overwhelmed because, this demand has come to me from this person, I had to say yes. It's just not the truth. That's taking your power away. That's giving your power away. It's giving someone else permission to have power over you. And I know that it's scary, and I know that it's a challenge to step into that space to believe, in actual fact, I have more control over my life than perhaps I thought was possible. And when I came to really fully understand that well, I'm not sure I fully understand it yet, but that growing place of I am empowered to make my own decisions. I'm empowered to make my own choices. I am a person with power because I'm a person. I don't have to wait for someone to give it to me. And it's a daily choice. It's a daily decision. It's a daily activity to recalibrate my mindset when I'm in that space of feeling disempowered or confused or overwhelmed or whatever the emotion might be in that moment. But standing in our power means saying to yourself, I have a choice. I can choose. But one of the hardest things to say is, I have chosen. And taking responsibility for the choices that we might have made by giving our power away, or giving someone else power over us that they didn't have the right to have.
I love that. I have chosen. I think that's really powerful. Really powerful. And the thing is life is going to throw you curveballs all the time. There's going to be unexpected things that are going to come your way at any moment, right? I often say it's like the roller coaster ride of life. Just stay on that roller coaster, stay on it, and be prepared to go through the downs, the ups, the round and round. And, you know, one thing I'm grateful for is all the challenges that I've had in my life, because every single one of them has taught me something. And I've been able to grow stronger through every single challenge. And, you know, through the darkest of times, through the biggest depressions, we've had some of the most successful people, and successful businesses have come out of the darkest times. So now actually you could view as a fantastic opportunity to pivot. Pivot's a hot word at the moment, to pivot, to change the way you've been doing things, to step into what you're passionate about if you haven't been doing that. Because life is short, right? You want to make sure that you're doing what you're passionate about. Another thing that I found fantastic for my overwhelm is going to the beach. I love the beach. I think that's a fantastic strategy too, to do more of what you love, whether it's music, dancing. There's so much we can do to lift our spirits.
Yeah, that's so true. On the weekend, my husband and I took a country trip. He had some work to do. We came across this sign: being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. And I took a picture of it. I thought that is so beautiful. And that's where you're making the choice. Do I be defeated in this space, or do I find a way that I'm going to create space so I'm not defeated? And for me too, it's the beach, it's nature, it's going out in the bush, it's finding space where you can just detach from all of those demands that scream at you if you let them. And it's not healthy, not in the long term.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have a Beautiful You podcast, Miriam, and a Beautiful You project as well. So you work with ladies with your Beautiful You project. Can you share a little bit about, you know, how your podcast came about and what Beautiful You is all about?
Yeah, thank you. My podcast is called The Beautiful You with Miriam Smout. Aldwyn has actually been one of my guests sometime early this year.
Yes.
And I interview everyday ordinary women, at least that's who they think they are. And what they're doing is something quite extraordinary with the challenges that they face, the pain in their life, the disappointments, the hurts, the struggles. And when I come across women with a story like that, I just love to share that story to inspire other people, other women, to think about their own life and their own responses, their own reactions. And if they can connect with the story they're hearing, if, say, for instance, that kind of is talking about a particular issue for them, then my guests will often give some wonderful tips and gems as well on ways that they overcame and ways that they stepped out of those very ordinary places to now be doing something extraordinary with their life. And it's just wonderful how many stories there are out there that of women that might not be famous in any way or have a voice in any particular arena, but this gives them an opportunity to share their voice. And going on from that, the Beautiful You project is a project that I have created for women to really be able to identify, to connect, to know who they truly are, to who is the beautiful you, who are you. And we can be hiding from that, or we can be denying that, or we can have had things happen to us in our life that has shut it down. And so we just have to reconnect with who that is to find it. And so there's 5 steps I take women through to connect with the beautiful you that they truly are, that they deserve to be. And then they can step out in that space and they can own it, they can embrace it. And one thing I just want to see, as I was talking to you earlier, Aldwyn, is women with smiles on their faces. I go into the shopping centres, I go places, and it just keeps hitting me, not just since COVID, but pre-COVID, how many sad faces there are in our community. People are not living life to the full. They're not living in joy. They're living with this weight on their shoulders. And sometimes I want to go up to women that are looking terribly sad and just go, choose to smile just for a second, you know. But I think they might hit me or something and say, you don't know what's been going on for me. And of course I don't, but I can guess because it's just manifested on their faces. And I've been thinking lately when I go to the shop, I would just love to walk around this shopping centre, these places, and see women smiling, see joy,
Absolutely.
see life, see happiness.
Yeah.
And what I've learned for me is that if I wait until something good happens to be happy, it might never happen. And so I'm learning that happiness, joy is a choice. That when I'm down the shopping centre, I might have a heavy heart, but I'll make sure that I practice to smile. A few times I'm walking through the aisles, I'm like, oh, smile, check your face. Are you kind of stressed, or have you got that smile, and I'm like, oh, I can feel the smile. Yeah, I've got to hold that position. It blesses other people too, people warm to it, and it just sheds a bit of joy, and it sheds a bit of life and blesses others.
Absolutely. And that goes for the men out there too. We want to see you smiling as well. And I must say, recently I've been doing some long beach walks. And, a lot of times when you're about to walk past someone, often you would sort of put your head down or, it's interesting. But lately I've actually been consciously looking at people in the eye as we're passing each other. I'll look at them and I'll smile. And I would say 99% of the time they smile back. And it's just such a beautiful gift you can give others and give yourself as well. And it just automatically lifts your spirit rather than putting your head down, like in an elevator, suddenly everyone becomes interested in the roof, right? Take on being conscious about how you're being in life. You're either lifting people's energy up and your own energy, or you're bringing it down. So how are you being? How are you being? And
it's a free gift, isn't it? It doesn't cost us anything except choice to share that with others.
Absolutely. It is a free gift. And if you're watching this right now, please pop into the chat wherever you're watching this video. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of your tips to overcome overwhelm, to conquer overwhelm, and to step into your power? What are some of your tips? Love to hear from you. We do need to wrap up now, Miriam. I'd love to keep chatting with you, and we will do more interviews down the track. I know you do some amazing work. You put out a lot of free content as well online. So where can people connect with you, Miriam?
Yeah, they can connect with me at Redemption Mumma on my Facebook page, or I have a group called Women Winning at Life. So you do have to be a woman to get into that group. But that's a place where I like to share some of the things, the strategies, what I'm learning, what's happening for me each day in that Women Winning at Life Facebook group. So I'd love to see you join me there.
Oh, wonderful. And any other final comments, Miriam?
Well, I just want to say thank you to you, Aldwyn. I've really been blessed by my connecting with you. It's just amazing the work that you do and the gifts that you have. And so I just want to say, big thank you, big shout out to you, the media queen. You definitely rule and reign in that space. And so thank you.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. And thank you for your lovely comments in the chat, Brad and Michael. Thank you so much. Love to see what have you got out of this conversation. Please pop into the chat. What have you got from this today? What are maybe some things you're going to do differently moving forward to bring more joy into your life and to help you overcome or conquer overwhelm and step into your power? What are some things that you're going to do from here moving forward? Thank you so much for being with us, Miriam. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today. And for anyone who wants to connect with me, then you can come and join us at the Mass Media Tribe group on Facebook and Meetup. We've also got the Loving Life group as well. There's a few places you can connect. Just Google my name. You'll find me all over the place. We're on Eventbrite. If you go Aldwyn Altuney Eventbrite to follow me there, you'll see all the upcoming events. And our next event that I'm running is actually I'm doing a special 2-hour free webinar on Friday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time called How to Gain $1 Million Worth of Free Publicity. And then next Wednesday, we've also got an amazing event on online radio and podcasting. Wednesday, August 19, that will be with Tony Lontis from Radio Tony, and that'll be a fantastic Mass Media Tribe event next Wednesday. So we have ongoing events. Make sure you check us out on Mass Media Tribe or on the Eventbrite. Just look up Aldwyn Eventbrite. Follow me there. You'll get all the updates. And, of course, Women Winning at Life Facebook group for Miriam. Thank you so much once again, Miriam. Any final words before we stop the live?
Oh, thanks, Aldwyn. Yes, if you're in overwhelm, get out. Don't stay there. There's nothing good in that space. Move on real fast.
Absolutely. And I'd just like to say, as the media queen, I'm just going to wave my wand at everyone watching this and just let you know that anything is possible in your life, that you can pick up your magic wand and you can create magic in any moment. Thank you so much, Miriam. Thanks for watching. Wherever you are in the world, blessings to you and yours. And remember to shine bright and light up all those around you. Bye for now.